And let's begin. One of my favorites is this one. Let's begin with this. I don't need automation because my utilization is already good enough. So, Esa or Teemu-Pekka, who wants to go first?
Okay,
What do you think about this?
Yeah, I can start. I'm meeting a lot of our existing customers, and they are, let's say, top of their class in machining workshops. It's quite often, however, that when we ask that what's your utilization, they start talking about shift patterns and what's the feeling of the utilization. So actually, quite seldomly, it's actually measured. So it's amazingly seldomly. And then on the other hand, if it's measured, the measurements might not be available. So
what do you mean?
So basically, it is measured. They know that it's measured, but they don't know what's the results.
Oh,
so that happens as well. Okay. So I think the utilization, and then the next question is that to which you compare. Yeah. Is it 24 hours a day, or is it like a 2-shift or 1-shift utilization? So then you get the high percentage, but then if you work only 9 hours a day, so then you lose quite many hours in a day.
Yeah. And talking about utilization, we're talking about machine tools, right?
Yeah.
Their utilization.
Yeah. That's another thing that in a way the machine is running, that what it is doing. So that's also in a way thing that sometimes there is customers work with the batches. Yeah. So they run 50 products. Yeah. They might need 4. Yeah. And they in a way put the rest 46 in the storage, waiting for an order.
Yeah, so that you have a lot of capital tied up in the inventory. So it's not a very optimal situation in that sense.
Yeah. What's your feeling, Teemu-Pekka, around this?
Well, I think that there's a lot of kind of processes that they're tracking. There's the manual setup times and unexpected changes in the production environment, and a lot of reasons that contribute into this efficiency of the machine tools. And they're used in a very colorful ways in the customers, how they calculate it.
Yeah. If you take an unautomated machine tool and you do the hard math, what is the typical utilization rate of those machines?
It's maybe somewhere 30% or so.
30%.
Yeah.
Out of what?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. But if we look at the total time, 2 shifts or 3 shifts, even 45 would be a great achievement, I would say. Yeah. Some say immediately that it's closer to 20%, actually. So it's not that high. So world is full of machines which are not so much utilized.
Yes. So there's a time of setups, all kinds of missing resources, and then the nights, weekends, holidays,
maintenance.
You take that out, and then you end up somewhere at tops 45.
Yeah.
Or closer to 24.
Yeah. Like Esa already said, that is a good result.
That's a good result.
Yeah. That's a good result
for a manual machine.
Yeah, so I don't need automation because my utilization is already good enough. Without automation, that doesn't seem to really hold ground.
Well, I think that it's kind of also a choice that you choose. That you can choose that, okay, if it's good enough for you. But there's a lot to tap into with the automation, I think.
Yes. But then it's a myth that I don't need automation because it's good enough. It's not maybe good. It might be that it's not even known.
Yeah. It's affecting to the investment calculations, of course. So that if you have a good utilization, or you think you have, then in a way what the automation can bring, because typically the customers who are running with automated machines, they run with 80% utilization of the machines, and that's of course, if you think that you can achieve 60 or something without automation, then of course the investment, the gain, it's still maybe 20%. In reality, it might be 40%, 50%.
Yes. Let's still go back to the question of what do we compare this to? When we say utilization is 30%, or you mentioned with automation, it can be 60, 70, 80%, even more than that.
Yeah.
Compared to what exactly?
Yeah, usually the customers, it's taken for granted that then we compare to 24 hours a day. So 760 hours a year. So it's total hours that you have in the use, because you can still run in a 1 or 2 shifts and then unmanned production
Yes.
during the nighttime and the weekends. So that's quite often in the investment calculations that needs to be taken into account.
Yes. So it sounds like that with unautomated machine tools, you end up somewhere 25-30%. And well, if that's good enough, then it is. But but automation surely can bring more there. And the argument that I don't need it because my utilization is already good enough seems not to hold so much ground. Anything else on this you want to add on?
No, I think we covered that bit.
Yeah. So I think the first
any
thing,
examples?
I think the first thing what should be done is to measure it really.
Yeah.
And of course there are many ways to measure it. So one way is to set up an automation system, because usually those systems are measuring those by default, the utilization. So you get accurate measurement as a side effect. But of course there are a lot of ways to measure it. Even pen and paper is a good way to measure, make observations. But it's critical to start, to know where you are.
Yes, that's really good takeaway, key takeaway. Just measure it somehow.